Okay. You guys they keep telling me they want something different, and it's like I'm not hanging out until I have the money and I can go about my day. You know? That's kind of what it is right now. I guess I'll walk the streets lonely. I don't know what to tell you. I'm really not kidding. So, but I appreciate you regardless. I think she was mocking you, as you mocked me, pointing out that you you would be co-conspirators, and this is how you would have handled it. You understand? As she gives me the certificate for it, I think this is what as you sit there and brag. Oh, there it is. No. Up for debate about it. Again, it was changed, as we noted. So we're gonna get into this. I don't think we've actually reached that. I just read it, so I'm still there. Like I said, I posted a couple things on Facebook. So, other than that, I don't know what to say to you. I guess I will walk the streets lonely. I don't know what to tell you. My friend up in the sky is rest assured probably does not want to see that happen. See, I can do it too. You know those little butterfly flaps? Those little bugs? The pestilence? What that is? Every step, action towards me and my temple. Seeing as I'm in the game, that's fine. However, we're not going to have a ghost sitting there pressing buttons, which is what you were doing. No. I like how they think they're invincible, and I like how nothing's being done about it. It's more than obnoxious. More than obnoxious. So, moving forward here. Excuse me, I'm going to get that out of my system. And I will not start with actually, yeah, I will start. I didn't start with David, so I will start with David. Working backwards here. This should be interesting. Chapter 26 of Isaiah. In that day shall his song be sung in the land of Judah. We have a strong city. Salvation will God appoint for walls and bulwarks. Open ye the gates, that the righteous nation which keepeth the truth may enter in. Thou wilt keep him in perfect peace, whose mind is stayed on thee, because he trusteth in thee. No, so that's not a gate. We're not in the same room. While we're in the same game, we're not in the same room. And if they are in the same room, like there's an attachment that was not specified, that was concealed, it's definitely not a gate, and it's not, like, you were not in the room with me. You're in the game. That's fine. The guiding light there, I'm not really worried about. You know what I mean? First of all, the environment, determines the guiding light, so. But it's definitely not a gate for the home, which is what you're trying to portray it. So let me be clear here. No, let me be clear here. It's no. Veto. We'll go ahead and veto. I was given power to veto. I'm vetoing that. Though thou wilt keep him in perfect peace, trust ye in the Lord forever. Forever in the Lord Jehovah is everlasting strength. For he bringeth down them that dwell on high. The lofty city he layeth it low. He layeth it low even to the ground. He bringeth it even to the dust. The foot shall tread it down, even the feet of the poor, and the steps of the needy. The way of the just is uprightness. Thou most upright dost weigh the path of the just. Yea, in the way of the judgment of the Lord have we waited for thee. The desire of our soul is to thy name, and to the remembrance of thee. With my soul have I desired thee in the night. Yea, with my spirit within me will I seek thee early. For when thy judgments are in the earth, the inhabitants of the world will learn righteousness. Let favor be shewed to the wicked, yet will he not learn righteousness in the land of uprightness. Will he deal unjustly, and will not behold the majesty of the Lord? Lord, when thy hand is lifted up, they will not see, but they shall see, and be ashamed for their envy at the people. Yea, the fire of thine enemies shall devour them. My armrest. It would be a good one.
Round one. Ball incoming.
For the mouse?
Have the ball. Ball drop.
Again, I'm just here taking notes. Don't mind me. you pro?
Ball dropped.
Lord, thou wilt ordain peace for us, for thou also hast wrought all our works in us.
We have the ball. Ball dropped. We have the ball.
Watch out.
Ball dropped. Ball dropped. Enemy has the ball. Enemy has the ball. Ball dropped. We have the ball.
A good warm up.
The way to victory. Ball dropped. We have the ball. Perfect.
It's like, okay. I don't know what to say to you.
Nearing victory.
Can I move forward with my business and move out with society here?
Enemy has the ball. Ball dropped. We have the ball. Ball dropped. Enemy has the ball. Ball dropped.
You can tell this little circle they're doing. OJ. Hey, OJ. Definitely what it is.
Enemy
I
has
can
the
tell by the
ball.
bubble in my mouth. OJ. I'm gonna figure that one out. How much practice did that take? I want you to go back and watch that.
Enemy
He
has
does
the ball.
OJ with that.
Ball dropped.
What was that, bitch? Because I don't have a gun pointed at the sun. That's not actually the sun, bitch.
Enemy has the ball. Ball
Excuse me.
dropped.
Random Halo player.
We have the ball. Round one.
They are dead, they shall not live, they shall decease, they shall not rise, therefore hast thou visited and destroyed them, and made all their memory to perish.
Enemy has the ball. Ball dropped. We have the ball. Ball dropped.
Queen of the Clouds, that makes sense, that's exactly what they are. Floating around, they're
We
literally
have
just
the
floating
ball.
around like nothing in this game. No matter, it doesn't matter who it is, as
Ball
long as
dropped.
like the platform,
Enemy
you know
has
what I mean?
the ball.
Foundation, which is understandable. Path of least resistance, right?
Ball dropped. Ball out of bounds. Ball incoming. We have the ball.
The stoplight there, they have a vacuum on the stoplight.
Ball dropped.
Going through the sewer and then up on the yellow light here.
We have the ball.
It's the glass, I believe. Oh.
Gain the lead. Ball dropped. We have the ball. Ball dropped. We have the ball. Ball dropped. Halfway to victory.
Okay. So we're gonna have a talk. There's nothing to say to you. like
Enemy
I
has
said.
the ball.
There's no sample space for that. You know what I mean? Which is the directive there. No, it is not. Thank you for your
We have the
opinion.
ball.
Your 2 cents. Huh. Are we stalling? Hey, stalling. Russia. Dude, you're in trouble.
Ball dropped.
You're not the most important person on the planet. You understand, fucker? As you sit there and try to block me, you are going to be held responsible. I promise you.
Enemy has the ball.
No, they don't. Oh, they do, I think. Yep, my own fault there.
Ball dropped. Double kill. Nearing victory.
It's like the wind, bro. You gotta watch them. It's a delay on that, man. I like it.
We have the ball.
And not only that, that's one of those things. Is the resources like are not gonna dry up. You know what I mean? In fact, the exact opposite. You'll saturate it. It's like when you have a market that where it gets saturated. I mean, saturation can be a good thing, really. It means you are needed, you know. If you got to that point, it means you're a high sought after resource, and you're easy to obtain. But then after that, it's like, how do you make money? How do you make a living? Thou hast increased the nation, O Lord. Thou hast increased the nation. Thou art glorified. Thou hast removed it far unto all the ends of the earth. Lord, in trouble have they visited thee. They poured out a prayer when my chastening was upon them. Like as a woman with child, that draweth near the time of her delivery, is in pain, and crieth out in her pangs, so have we been in thy sight, O Lord. We have been with child, we have been in pain, we have had as were brought with forth wind, we have not wrought any deliverance in the earth, neither have the inhabitants of the world fallen. Thy dead men shall live, together with my dead body shall they arise. Awake and sing, ye that dwell in dust, for thy dew is at the dew of herbs, and the earth shall cast out the dead. Come, my people, enter thou into thy chambers, and shut thy doors about thee. Hide thyself as it were for a little moment, until the indignation be overpast. For behold, the Lord cometh out of the place to punish the inhabitants of the earth for their iniquity. The earth also shall disclose her blood, and shall no more cover her slain. That's pretty much it, dude. Some magic? Either way you look at it. Chrono Trigger. I thought about that, but then even that.
Time.
So we've tried to be nice about it. At this point, like, okay, I recorded it, and you try doing that. Especially when all you have to do is knock on the door. I'm not hearing you at all. I am not hearing these fuckers at all. Whoever the officer is behind the screen, that I have to sit here and his emotions. I promise you, you have the right to remain silent. I promise you, you're going to jail for it. Start screaming at you. No, dude. Continue where we left off, George. I think it was to Israel Shreve, Ohio lands, Mount Vernon, July 15th, 1785. Sir, your letter of the 22nd of June came safely to hand. I have no lands in the western country which I incline at this time to make actual sale of. Between the two Kanhawas on the banks of the Ohio, I hold, bounded by the river and of rich bottom with good mill seats, about 10,000 acres of as valuable land as any in that region, and on the excuse me, let me figure this out. You and your gent. The river Kanawha from near the mouth upwards. I have about 30,000 acres more of equal quality with the first mentioned, the Ohio River, all of which I've offered on leases for 21,000.
I promise you, my mother, I'd beat your ass over
or
that.
10 years, renewable forever, on increasing
Putting your
rents,
foot down
on
like that
certain
on me
conditions,
now.
which were published in Claypool's paper in March or April of last year, and may easily be resorted to. As I have not disposed of these lands yet, I presume the terms are thought too
There's that
high,
weight.
but as I know the situation and convenience of them, and that the quality of the soil is inferior to none in all the Western Territory, I do not incline to make any change in my terms, unless I am in a manner compelled to it by taxation, which,
Negative.
however inconvenient it may be to myself, I wish to see heavily laid on, that the officers and soldiers and other public creditors may receive their just dues. I am, etc. 2 Tench Tilghman, Mount Vernon, July 17th, 1795. Dear Sir, by Mr. Governor Morris, I sent you this amount of the cost of plank, which you were so obliging as to send me from Baltimore. From the letter book, copy in the Washington papers. The packet enclosed with this for Mr. Hilligus contains necessary and valuable papers for Mr. Thomas Smith in a suit I have been obliged to commence in Washington County, State of Pennsylvania, against sundry persons who, taking advantage of my absence and peculiar situation during the war, possess themselves of a tract of land I hold in the vicinity of Fort Pitt, for which I have a patent obtained in legal form ever since the year 1774, and for which I am now compelled to bring ejectments. Cover sheet. Provisional application. These are just templates. I appreciate you. Mr. Smith requested these papers to be sent to him under cover to Mr. Hilligus as a certain mode of conveyance, but as much time has elapsed in obtaining them, as some of the papers point to evidence which may not rarely be come at, as the suit may come forward at the September term, and as the channel of conveyance pointed out by him is very circuitous, I should be much obliged, if good opportunities are frequently offered from Baltimore to Carlisle, by your stripping off the address to Mr. Hilligus and forwarding the enclosure as directed to Mr. Smith. With much truth and sincerity, I am, etc.
Thank you.
For the paintings. To Samuel Powell, Mount Vernon, July 19th, 1785.
Hold on.
Sir, the honor which the Society for Promoting Agriculture lately...
That actually worked out. Okay. Wait till we get into the game. I was going to say something, now I forgot it since I saw that. Oh no.
I truly do not remember now.
Well, seeing as like I walk out daily, you know what I mean?
Here we go. Established in the city of Philadelphia has done me by electing me an honorary member is highly pleasing and flattering to me, the strongest assurance of which I pray you, at the next meeting, to communicate with my respectful compliments to the society. Accept at the same time, sir, my acknowledgment of the flattering expression with which you have accompanied the certificate of my election. No measure, in my opinion, will be more conducive to the public weal than the establishment of this society, if the purposes of it are prosecuted with spirit. Much is it to be wished that each state would institute similar ones, and that these societies, when formed, would correspond regularly and freely with each other. We are not only in our infancy of agriculture improvement, but in this state the farmers are pursuing an unprofitable course of crops, to the utter destruction of their lands. I am obliged to the society for its address to the public, and for the summary of a course of crops by Mr. Bordeley. The letter I have before received before the author, who was so obliging as to send me to several copies immediately after the publication thereof. I have the honor, etc. I'm sure I could look up farming practices and the recycling of the land. After 50,000 years, though, I would sure hope they'd figure it out. To George Whedon, Mount Vernon. I don't know. I would use a bucket, so. I guess I don't understand. To George Whedon. I mean, you get the runoff and stuff, the chemicals, but I mean, if you're all natural here, which you would be, that doesn't really make sense. Mount Vernon, July 23rd, 1785. Dear sir, it is some time since I received the enclosed bill under cover from a drawer. Among the multiplicity of the other letters, it got buried and forgot, until a line from Mr. de Marbois the other day, forwarding the third bill of same tenor and date, reminded me of it. As I do not know who the treasurer of the Society of the Cincinnati of the state is, I take the liberty of committing the bill to your care with a request that you would be so obliging as to ask him personally if he is near you, or by letter if he is at a distance for a receipt for it. Then I may transmit the same to Colonel De Corney, with an apology for my long silence. If I know who the state treasurer is, I will not give you any trouble in the business. But if I really do not, I hope it will be received as an excuse for having it
I'm
done.
not very
I am,
exquisite,
etc.
excuse me. Lack of emphasis.
Flag return.
Treasurer. Thank you.
5 seconds on the OS.
In my sights.
Okay. Okay.
It works out really.
Enemy there.
To David Humphreys, Mount Vernon, July 25th, 1785. My dear Humphreys, since my last to you, I received your letter of the 15th of January, and I believe that of the 11th of November, and thank you for them. It always gives me pleasure to hear from you, and I should think if the amusements would spare you, business could not so much absorb your time as to prevent your writing more frequently, especially as it is a regular conveyance once a month by the packet. As the complexion of European politics seems now, from letters I have received from the Marquis de Lafayette, Cavalier Charteloup, de la Luzerne, and C. to have a tendency in peace, I will say nothing of war, nor make any animadversion upon the continued powers, otherwise I might possibly have said that the retreat from it seemed impossible after the explicit declaration of the party. My first wish is to see the plague to mankind banished from off the earth, and the sons of the daughters of this world employed in more pleasing and innocent amusements, than in preparing implements and exercising them for the destruction of mankind. Rather than quarrel about territory, let the poor, the needy and oppressed of the earth, and those who want land, resort to the fertile plains of our western country, the second promise, and there dwell in peace, following the first and great commandment. In a former letter, I informed you, my dear Humphreys, that if I had talents for it, I had not leisure to turn my thoughts to commentaries. A consciousness of a defective education, and a certainty of the want of time unfit for such an undertaking, what with company, letters, and other matters, many of them quite extraneous, I have not been able to arrange my own private concerns, so as to rescue them from the disordered state in which they have been thrown by the war, and to do which it become absolutely necessary for my support, whilst
See you,
I
dude.
remain on this stage of human action.
See you, dude.
The sentiments of your last letter on the subject gave me great pleasure.
Can you go ahead and point that out? See you, dude. Goodbye. Crying baby. Ah.
I should be pleased indeed to see you undertake this business, your abilities as a writer, your discernment respecting the principles which lead to the decisions by arms, your personal knowledge of many facts as they occurred in the progress of the war, your disposition to justice, candor, and impartiality, and your diligence in investigating truth, combining fit you when joined with vigor of life for this task, and I should with great pleasure not only give you the perusal of all papers, but any oral information of circumstances which cannot be obtained from the former, that my memory will furnish. And
Cannot
I
be
can with
obtained,
great
thank
truth
you.
add that my house would not only be at your service during the period
I'll
of
be
your
obtaining
preparing
my
work,
certificates,
but,
though.
and without an unmeaning compliment I say it, I should be exceedingly happy if you would make it your home. You might have an apartment to yourself in which you could command your own time. You would be considered and treated as one of the family, and meet with the cordial reception and entertainment which are characteristic of the sincerest friendship. I appreciate you, New York City. An apartment, I would greatly appreciate it. That would be amazing. Very expensive.
Strong.
Very ritzy. To reverberate European news would be idle, and we have a little of domestic kind worthy of attention. We have held treaties indeed with the
Manhattan
Indians, but they
Project,
were
get
so
off.
unseasonably delayed, and these people, by our last accounts from the westward, are in discontented mood, supposed by many to be instigated thereto by our late enemies, now, to be sure, fast friends, who, from anything I can learn, under the indefinite expression of the treaty hold, and seem resolved to retain possession of our western post. Congress have also, after a long and tedious deliberation, passed an ordinance for laying off the western territory into states and for disposing of the land. but in a manner and on terms which few people in the southern states conceive can be accomplished. Both sides are sure, and the event is appealed to. Let time decide it. It is, however, to be regretted that local politics are self-interested. Views obtrude themselves into every measure of public utility, but to such characters be the consequences. My intention is more immediately engaged in projects that think
I'm gonna get my
therefore commercial consequences in their states, especially the middle ones. It
Now
is
you're
by
starting to piss
removing
me off. I'm about to start
obstructions
knocking on
and
doors
extending
and
the
stuff. Like, hey,
navigation
dude, I
of
know it's
the
you,
rivers
bitch.
to bring the states on the Atlantic.
No, really.
into
Certificate
connection
and the
with
money.
these-
I'm not kidding
those
at
flowing
all.
to the western by short and easy transportation.
Thank
Without this, I can easily perceive they will have to refuse.
Truly,
separate
I mean what I
interests
say.
and
Say
other
silent.
connections.
I'm not playing with these
From
guys.
Taco Bell to Pizza Hut. Underground
At
there.
all.
I may be singular in my ideas, but they are these: that to open a door to and make easy the way
Thank
for
you.
the
Goodbye.
those
My certificate.
settlers to the westward, which ought to progress
I'm not-
regularly
again,
and
I will kill you.
compactly, before we make any stir about
Here's
the
the evidence.
navigation
Goodbye.
of the Mississippi,
Either
and
you can
before our
accept it or I
settlements
will kill
are
you.
far advanced towards that river.
I have no
would be our
no
true
choice
line of
but to do
policy.
this. So.
It can, I think, be demonstrated that the produce of the Western Territory, if the navigations which are now in hand succeed, and of which I have no doubt, as low down the Ohio as the great Kanawha, I believe, to the falls, and between the parts about and the lakes, may be brought either to the highest shipping ports on this or James River at a less expense with more ease, including the return, and in a much shorter time than it can be carried to New Orleans, if the Spaniards, instead of restricting, were to throw open their ports and invite our trade. But if the commerce of that country should embrace this channel, the connections be formed, experience has taught us, and there is a very recent proof with
Got
Britain,
it? Do you understand?
how next to impracticable it is to divert, and if
What does Matthew have to do with anything? Hand over the property, you will be killed. What does Matthew have to do with anything? What does that have to do with anything? You have the right to remain silent. Clarence, I'm not arguing. I will kill you, motherfucker. I was placed above you for a reason. Now shut up. Remove him from the building now. I am not kidding with you. Stupid motherfucker. This is your death right here, you fucking retard. Again, I will kill you. Goodbye. No, goodbye! Now I'm angry. You're not gonna backtalk me at all, motherfucker. By any means, motherfucker. So, this is your death, you fucking retard. I cannot wait. No, this is your death. I promise you. Step up to me one more goddamn time. Stay silent. You're under arrest. If you do not comply with me, I will kill you. End of discussion. I'm above you. End of discussion. So let's go ahead and get on that, Congress. I am not arguing at all. I promise you are going to do exactly what I tell you to do. You stupid piece of shit. I'm not shaking no goddamn hand. Thank you. Fucking piece of shit. You see it? You see the doorway? Retard. Understand me when I say I will kill you. The money! I'll be taking my business and I'll be moving away from the goddamn dumbass.
there should be the ease, the Atlantic
Do I
States,
make myself
especially
clear?
as those
You're at
whose
death.
westward will be in a great degree filled with foreigners, will be no more to the present Union, except to excite, perhaps very justly, our fears.
I appreciate
Then
you.
the
Thank
country
you.
of California, which is still more to the westward and belonging to another power. Mrs. Washington presents her compliments to you, and with
I
every
mean
wish
what I
for
say,
your
motherfucker.
happiness, etc.
Try to come in here and don't. I'm not joining. Goodbye.
On to David. Western Commerce. Going through the portfolio here. We're about halfway through. A little further than
My
half.
dude, give him the goddamn money.
Chapter 23, Isaiah. The burden of Tyre. How ye ships of Tarshish.
We don't care at all. I will murder you.
For it is
I assure you.
laid waste, so that there is no house, no entering in. From the land of Chittim it is revealed to them.
So let's go ahead and get on that.
Be still, ye inhabitants of the isle, thou whom the merchants of Zidon that pass over the sea have replenished. And great waters, the seed of Sihor, the harvest of the river, is her revenue, and she is a mart of nations. Be thou ashamed, O Zidon, for the sea hath spoken, even the strength of the sea, saying, I travail not, nor bring forth children, neither do I nourish up young men, nor bring up virgins. As at the report concerning Egypt, so shall they be sorely pained at the report of Tyre. Pass ye over to Tarshish, how, ye inhabitants of the isle. Is this your joyous city, whose antiquity is of ancient days? Her own feet shall carry her afar off to sojourn. Who hath taken this counsel against Tyre, the crowning city, whose merchants are princes, whose traffickers are the honorable of the earth? The Lord of hosts hath purposed it to stain the pride of all glory, and to bring into contempt all the honorable of the earth. Pass through thy land as a river, O daughter of Tarshish. There is no more strength. He stretched out his hand over the sea, he shook the kingdoms. The Lord hath given a commandment against the merchant city, to destroy the strongholds thereof. And he said, Thou shalt no more rejoice, O thou oppressed virgin daughter of Zidon. Arise, pass over to Chittim, there also shalt thou have no rest. Behold the land of Chaldeans. This people was not till the Assyrian founded it for them that dwell in the wilderness. They set up the towers thereof, they raised up the palaces thereof, and he brought it to ruin. How, ye ships of Tarshish, for your strength is laid waste. And it shall come to pass in that day that Tyre shall be forgotten 70 days, according to the days of one king.
I'm just waiting.
After the end of 70 years, shall Tyre sing as a harlot. Take a harp, go about the city, thou harlot, thou hast been forgotten. Make sweet melodies, sing many songs, that thou mayest be remembered. And it shall come to pass after the end of 70 years, that the Lord will visit Tyre, and she shall turn to her hire, and shall commit fornication with all the kingdoms of the world upon the face of the earth. And her merchandise and her hire shall be holiness to the Lord. It shall not be treasured nor laid up, for the merchandise shall be for them that dwell before the Lord, to eat sufficiently and for durable clothing. I appreciate you. I concur with the invite there, as long as it's in good taste. Pyramid.
Dude, why would you do that?
The very breath you breathe. You gotta watch that.
To do that. Why would you do that?
To Marquis de Lafayette,
Again.
Mount Vernon, July 25th, 1785. My dear Marquis, I have to acknowledge and thank you for your several favors of the 9th, of February, 19th, of March, and 16th of April, with their enclosures, all of which the last one yesterday had been received
get on
since
this
I had the honor
today?
to
I
address
can
you
start
in
buying
February.
equipment.
I stand before you as a culprit,
Do what I need to
but to
do.
repent and be forgiven and are the precepts of heaven. I do the former. Do you practice the latter? And it will be participation in divine attribute.
Right,
Yet
that would be good, wouldn't it?
I am not barren of excuses. For
That's
this
a good- that's
seeming
a good
inattention,
point.
frequent
Thank you.
absences from home, a round of company when at it, and the pressure of many matters might be urged as apologies for my long silence. But I disclaim all of them, and trust to the forbearance of friendship and your wanted indulgence. Indeed, so few things occur in the line on which I now move worthy of attention, that this also might be added to the catalogue of my excuses, especially when I further add that one of my letters, if it is to be estimated according to its length, would make free of yours. I now congratulate you, and my heart does it more effectually than my pen, on your safe arrival at Paris from your voyage to this country, and on the happy meeting with Madame Lafayette and your family in good health. May the blessing of this long continue to them, and may every day add increase of happiness to yourself. As the clouds which overspread your hemisphere are dispersing in peace, all is concomitance is dawning upon your land.
Easter Island should make you mad.
I will banish the sound of war from my letter. I wish to see the sons and daughters of the world in peace, and busily employed in the more agreeable amusement of fulfilling the first and great commandment. Increase and multiply. As an encouragement to which we have opened the fertile plains of the Ohio to the poor, the needy, and the oppressed of the earth. Any one, therefore, who is heavy laden, who wants land to cultivate, may repair thither and abound, as in the land of promise. With milk and honey the ways are preparing, and the roads will be made easy throughout the channels of Potomac and James River. Speaking of these navigations, I have the pleasure to inform you that the subscriptions, especially for the first, at the surrender of the books, agreeable to the act which I enclosed you in my last, exceeded my most sanguine expectation. For the latter, that is James River, no comparison of them has yet been made. Of the 50,000 sterling required for the Potomac navigation, upwards of 40,000 was subscribed before the middle of May, and increasing fast. A president and 4 directors, consisting of your libel servant, Governors Johnson and Lee of Maryland, and Colonel Fitzgerald and Gilpin of the state, were chosen to conduct the undertaking. The first dividend of the money was paid on the 15th of this month, and the work is to be begun the 1st of next, in those parts which require least skill, leaving the more difficult till an engineer's abilities and practical knowledge can be obtained. Which reminds me of the question which I propounded to you in my last on this subject, and on which I should be glad to learn your sentiments. This prospect, if it succeeds, and of which I have no doubt, will bring the Atlantic States and the Western Territory into close connection and be protective of very extensive commercial and political consequences. The last of which you gave the spur of my assertions, as I could foresee many and great mischiefs which would naturally result from separation, and that a separation would inevitably take place if the obstruction between the two countries remained, and the navigation of the Mississippi should be made free. Great Plain in her commercial policy is acting in her part with respect to herself, which seems to have influenced all her councils, and thereby is defeating her own ends. The restriction of our trade and her heavy imposts on the staple commodities of this country will, I conceive, immediately produce powers in Congress to regulate the trade of the Union, which more than probably would not have been obtained without half in a century. The mercantile interests of the whole Union are endeavoring to effect this, and will no doubt succeed. They see the necessity of a controlling power, and the futility, indeed, the absurdity of each state enacting laws for this purpose, independent of one another. This will be the case also after a while in all matters of common concern. It is to be regretted, I confess, that democratical states must always feel before they conceive. It is this that makes their government slow, but the people will be right at last. Congress, after long deliberation, having at length agreed upon a mode for disposing of the lands of the United States in the Western Territory, it may be a good one, but it does not comport with my ideas. The ordinance is long, and I have none of them by me, or I would send one by your Persual. They seem in this instance, as in almost every other, to be surrounding the little power they have. To the states individually which give it to them, many think the price which they have fixed upon the lands too high, and all the southward I believe that disposing them in townships and by square miles alternately, they will be a great legacy sale, but experience to which there is an appeal must decide. Soon after I had written to you in February, Mr. Jefferson,
They don't want to admit they put attachment onto my body.
informed me that in consequence of an application for Mr. Harrison for permission
You're in trouble,
to export
motherfucker.
a jack for me from Spain,
I'm gonna have to do
His
it
Catholic
myself.
Majesty
Fight
had
Club?
ordered
Is that what
2
it
of the
is?
first race in his kingdom,
Little bitch.
lest an accident might happen to one, to be purchased and presented to me as a mark of his esteem. They're mocking, yeah. Such an instance of condescension
not arguing with you at all.
and attention from a crowned head is very flattering, and lays me under great obligation to the king. But neither of them is yet arrived. These, I presume, are the 2 mentioned in your favor the 16th of April, one as having been shipped from Cadiz, the other as expected from the Isle of Malta, which you would forward, as they have been purchased since December last. I began to be apprehensive of accidents, which I wish may not be case with respect to the one from Cadiz, if he was actually shipped at the time of your account. Should the other pass through your hands, you cannot oblige me more than by requiring the greatest care and most particular attention to be paid to him. I have long endeavored to procure one of good size and breed, but
Yeah,
had
I'm not
little
feeling that at all.
expectation of receiving two as a royal gift.
It's a little too
I am
laggy.
much obliged to you, my dear Marquis, for your attention to the hounds, and not less sorry that you should
I think
have
it's the
met
map,
the smallest
really.
difficulty or experienced the least trouble in obtaining them. I said I wasn't going to finish it. I was no way anxious about these, consequently should have felt no regret or sustained no loss if you had not succeeded in your application. I have commissioned 3 or 4 persons, among whom Colonel Marshall is one,
I would not.
to procure for me in Kentucky for the use of the King's Gardens at Versailles and elsewhere the seeds mentioned in the list you sent me from New York, and such others as are curious, and will forward them as soon as they come to my hands, which cannot be till after the growing crop has given its seed. But my best wishes will accompany you to Potsdam and into the Austrian dominions whenever you set out upon the tour. As an unobserved spectator, I should like to take a peep at the troops of those monarchs at their maneuverings upon a grand field day. But as among the unattainable things, may philosophy shall supply the place of curiosity and set my mind at ease. In your favor of the 19th of March, you speak of letters which were sent by a Mr. Williams, but none such have come to hand. The present for the little folks did not arrive by Mr. Redout's ship as you expected, to what cause owing I know not. Mrs. Washington has but indifferent health, and the late loss of her mother and only brother, Mr. Bartholomew Dandridge, one of the judges of our Supreme Court, has rather added to her indisposition. My mother and friends enjoy good health. George has returned after his peregrination through the West Indies to Bermuda, the Bahama Islands, and Charleston at the last place he spent the winter. He is in better health from when he set out, but not quite recovered. He is now on a journey to the Sweet Springs to procure a stock sufficient to fit him for a matrimonial voyage in the frigate F. Bassett, on board which he means to embark at his return in October. How far his case is desperate, I leave you to judge. If it is so, the remedy, however pleasing at first, will certainly be violent. The latter end of April, I had the pleasure to receive in good order by a ship from London the picture of yourself, Madame Lafayette, and the children, which I consider as an invaluable present, and shall give it to the best place in my house. Mrs. Washington joins me in respectful compliments and in every good wish for Madame de Lafayette, yourself, and family. All the others who have come under your kind notice present their compliments to you. For myself, I can only repeat the sincere attachment and unbounded affection of my dear Marquis, from the letter book copy in the Washington papers. No, I will not finish that. I said I wasn't going to finish it. I appreciate your licensing here. Do I put that in the application? Do I put that in the application?
I believe that they're handing me the certificate and saying, go about your day. With the money to go. Obviously with the paying of the back. I'm right. I know I'm right.
Capture the flag.
Doesn't really make sense.
She looked like a little monkey. Abu? Apu, shut up. Hey, Apu, shut up. This isn't the time to come in here. You come up with a business plan. I mean, you would need that. Obviously, you pretty much laid it out for me and the land. What's to be done here? As far as damaging the runoff and all that, I would have to research and read about that more before we get into that. Get the knowledge there, which is easily at hand. Can be read in about 5 minutes. Figured that out. Put it into practice.
Yeah, I didn't even notice, see?
Go to the Brahmin here. Bro. Number 27 of the Brahmin. He who knows the support of this salmon vital force gets a resting place. Speech, certain parts of the body, is indeed its support. For resting on speech is the vital force, thus chanted. Some say resting on food, body. Similarly, in order to enjoy meditation on another feature of the vital force, there is its support. The text says, he who knows the support of this salmon, i.e. speech, on which the salmon rests, gets a resting place.
Enemy flag
The result is
returned.
aptly in accordance with the meditation, for the Shruti says, one becomes exactly as one meditates upon him. As before, when one has been tempted by a mention of the result and wants to hear what that support is, the scripture says, speech is indeed the support of the salmon. You can read my mind, you tell me. Why don't you just lay it all out for me, buddy? Speech here means the different parts of the body, such as the root of the tongue. Those are the support. This is explained by the text. For resting on speech, i.e. the root of the tongue in other places, is the vital force chanted, assumes the form of a chant. Therefore, speech is the support of the salmon. Some say it is chanted resting on food. It is but proper to say that the vital force rests on this, since this latter view is also unexceptionable. One should meditate at his option upon their speech or food as the support of the vital force. That's why they repeat it. They repeat it over and over in order to get the flow. Again, I'm winging it. I'm chopping. I don't mind. 28. Now, therefore, the edifying repetition, Abiyahora, only of the hymns called Pavamanas, the priest called Prastrader, indeed recites the salmon. While he recites it, these mantras are to be repeated. From evil lead me to good, from darkness lead me to light, from death lead me to immortality. When the mantra says, from evil lead me to good, evil means death, and good immortality. So it says, from death lead me to immortality, i.e. make me immortal. When it says, from darkness lead me to light, darkness means death, and light immortality. So it says, from death lead me to immortality. I don't know about that. Or make me immortal. In the dictum, from death lead me to immortality, the meaning does not seem to be hidden. Then through the remaining hymns, the chanter should secure a stable food for himself by chanting. Therefore, while they are being chanted, the sacrifice should ask for a boon, anything that he desires. Whatever object this chanter possessed of such knowledge desires, either for himself or for the sacrificer, he secures them by chanting. This meditation certainly wins the world. Hiran Yarba, he who knows the salmon, vital force, as such has not to pray lest he be unfit for this world. I think that Facebook was pointing out there, they're like, I go hard in the paint, you know, it shows. So business and gaming should, like, be the same. As far as, like, the effort being put in it. It's like, they're, like, obviously, if the effort's not being put in this section and it is in this section, then this section over here needs to change. Right? The roadblock
Enemy
needs
flag
to change.
returned.
A repetition of mantras is being prescribed for one who knows the vital force
It's the
as
nature
such.
of the beast.
They don't even know. The meditation by knowing which one is entitled. They're coming to me. As you see that, they popped into my screen without permission.
In my sight.
I should be getting like the permission here. Anyway, a repetition of mantras is being prescribed. A repetition of mantras is being prescribed for one who knows the vital force as such. The meditation by knowing which is
Appreciate
entitled
you,
to
really.
this repetition
really
of
do.
mantras has been mentioned. They're refusing to accept my
You
entitlement.
trying to learn how to play?
That generation right there. You can. Okay. Now, because this repetition of mantras by one possessed of such knowledge produces the result of
Are we trying to learn
elevation
how
to
to play?
divinity,
What's going
therefore
on
it is
here?
being described here. This repetition being
Confused.
connected with chanting may be thought applicable to every chant. So it is restricted by the mention of the Pavamanas. But since one may think that it should be done with all the three Pavamanas, the time is being further restricted. The grandpas, the priest called Prastader indeed recites the salmon. While he recites it, i.e. when he begins to chant the salmon, these mantras are to be repeated. And this repetition of mantras is called Abiyahora, because through this repetition, one possessed of such knowledge advances towards the realization of one's innate divinity. The plural in these indicates that there are three Yajus mantras. The use of the accusative case and the fact that these mantras occur in Brahmana, or explanatory portion of the Vedas, indicate that the usual accent should be used in these words and not the special intonation used in the hymns. This repetition of mantras is to be done by this sacrifice. Bro, these are the usual mantras in question. From evil, lead me to good. From darkness, lead me to light. From death, lead me to immortality. The meaning of the mantras is hidden, so the Brahmana itself explains them. When the mantra says, from evil, lead me to good, what is the meaning? Evil means death, i.e. our natural actions and thoughts. Evil because they degrade as very much, and good, i.e. actions and thoughts as they are regulated by the scriptures, means immortality because they lead to it. Therefore, the meaning is, from evil actions and ignorance lead me to actions and thoughts that are regulated by the scriptures, i.e. help me to identify myself with those things that lead to divinity. The import of the sentence is being stated. So it says, make me immortal. Similarly, when it says, from darkness lead me to light, darkness means death. All ignorance, being of the nature of a veil, is darkness, and it again is death, being the cause of it, and which is indicated by the use of the instrumental case of the directions. And light means immortality, the opposite of the above. One's divine nature. Knowledge being luminous is called light, and it again is
Trying to
immortality.
stretch out the O
being
there.
of the nature.
Oval Office.
So it says, from death lead me to immortality, or make me
Stop
immortal.
doing that. Again, I was
As
put in
before,
charge
help
here.
me to realize the divine status of Viraj.
It needs
The
to
first
reflect
means
it.
help me to identify myself with the means of realization, instead with things that are not such. While the second one means help me to go beyond that, even for it is a form of ignorance, and attain identity with the result. The third mantra, from the death lead me to immortality, gives the combined meaning of the first two, and is quite clear. In this, the meaning does not seem to be hidden, as in the first two, i.e. it should be taken literally. Then, after chanting for the sacrificer with the three pavamanas, through the remaining hymns, the chanter who knows the vital force and has become identified with it, should secure a stable food for himself by chanting, just like the vital force. Because this chanter knows the vital force is above described, therefore he is able to obtain the desired object. Therefore, while they are being chanted, the sacrificer should ask for a boon, anything that he desires, because whatever objects this chanter possesses of such desire, either for himself or for a sacrificer, he secures them by chanting. This sentence should precede the one before it for the sake of sense. Thus it has been stated that meditation and rites together lead to identification with Hirangarbha. There is no possibility of a doubt regarding this. Therefore, a doubt is being raised as to whether, in the absence of rites, meditation alone can lead to that result or not. To remove it, the text says, this meditation on the vital force certainly wins the world Hirangarbha. Even if it is disjoined from the rites, he has not yet to pray lest he be unfit for this world. For one who has already realized identity with Hirangarbha cannot possibly pray for the attainment of him. A man who is already in a village is not eager about when he will reach it. As a man who is in a forest is, expectation is always about something remote, something other than oneself. It is impossible with regard to one's own self. Therefore, there is no chance of this theory unless he should ever miss identity with Hirangarbha. Who gets this result? He who knows this, salmon as much, meditates upon the vital force whose glories have been described above, till he realizes his identity with it in the following way. I am the pure vital force, not to be touched by the evil characteristic of the Asuras is the attachment of the senses of their objects. The 5 organs, such as the 5 speech, have by resting on me been freed from the effects of these evils, which spring from one's natural thoughts, and have become fire and so forth. And they are connected with all bodies by partaking of the stable food that belongs to me. Being Angarasa, I am the self of all, who is the cosmic form of the vital force, beings.
Enemy there.
And I am the self of speech, manifesting itself as Arsi, Yajuz, Samin, and Adgitha, for I pervade it and produce it. I am transformed into a chant as salmon and have the exterior wealth of embellishment of a good voice. And I also have a more intimate treasure, consisting of fine articulation according to phonetics. And when I become the chant, the throat, and the parts of the body of support, with these attributes, I am completely present in all bodies, beginning with that of a white ant, being fullness and all-pervading.
Enemy there. In my sight. sights.
RC, 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 RC. RE. Hiring Garba.
Target spotted.
I ran your Garba. I ran your Garba. What are we repeating here?
Flag returned. Enemy flag returned. Flag returned.
That's pretty solid. Pretty standard there. You should have had that. It's pretty open lane.
Enemy flag returned.
Got multiple.
No scope.
I can feel that.
So that's the end of section 3. Very good.
In my sights.
Okay. The Buddhist text here. Kamabago desires. The result of greed. A golden goose goes occasionally and gives his former family one of his golden feathers, and they grow rich. The greed overcomes his former wife, and she plucks him. The feathers through which stolen are gold no more, and they sink back into poverty. Be content with what is received. Only the wicked have great
Flag
greed.
returned.
Because of grabbing the goose king, he must loose the golden feathers. Wisdom is the only cure for the greed. A king receives Saka, the Bodhisattva disguised as a young Brahmin, who promises to help him conquer 3 cities. But the king is so mean he doesn't even offer him lodging. In the morning the Brahmin is nowhere to be found, and the king falls sick thinking of his loss. Saka preaches to him as the only one to cure his illness of greed. Some there are who can cure the cobra's bite, and the wise can cure possession by ghosts, but no one can cure one led by desire. What treatment can there be for the impure? Craving brings on grief and fear. A Brahmin farmer wishing for his fields to prosper decides to make the Buddha his partner. Just before the crop is brought in floods, wash it all away. From craving there arises grief.
It
From
creates a
craving
bubble.
there
Yeah,
arises
you gotta push
fear.
the bubble
For
out.
one who is free from craving, there is no grief. How is there fear? Desires are never satisfied.
That's desperation.
A
right
Brahmin
there.
farmer wishing for his fields to prosper decides to make the Buddha his partner. Just before the crop is brought in floods, wash it all away. If the one with desire succeeds in gaining the desires that he craves, he certainly will be joyful, for he gained what a man desires. If the man with desire succeeds in gaining the desires that he craves, then he will have further desires, just as there is thirst when it's hot. Just as the two horns of a bull develop while he is growing, even so for the foolish one, the one without understanding, his thirst and craving develop while they are being satisfied. Even having been given all the cows, barley, and slaves on earth, it is not enough for that one. Understanding this, live in peace. A king, having conquered the whole of earth up to the ocean's edge, will still cross over the oceans, because he will wish for what is on the other side of the seas. As long as his mind has desires, he will not feel satisfaction. Seeing the cure, he stops desire. He is satisfied through wisdom.
Return.
Best is wisdom's satisfaction, not the suffering of desires. The one satisfied by wisdom does not have any craving. For he who is not covetous does away with all his desires. That person is like the ocean, he does not suffer through desires. Just as a cobbler cuts the skin, so it fits the shoe he's making. With the giving up of desires, true happiness can be attained. Wishing for complete happiness, he should abandon all desire. The snare of taste. A gardener named Sanjaya entices a deer into the palace through lining his grass with honey. There is nothing worse than taste. Is for our relatives and our friends, the wind deer from his jungle home has brought under control by taste. Confidence is the taste supreme. A teacher falls ill while being looked after by the king of Varanasi, and none of the doctors can cure him. He goes to the Himalayas where he is cured by for his developed pupil, the Bodhisattva, and gets better with his loving care. Whether of good taste or bad taste, whether it is little or much, whether the faithful one eats, he finds faith is the taste supreme. Knowing the measure. King Pasenadi eats too much and is always uncomfortable. The Buddha speaks his verse, which the king has an attendant remember and repeat to him when he eats. For the person who is always mindful, knowing the measure is regard to food. His unpleasant feeling becomes fewer. Slowly he ages, protecting his life. Neither grieving nor yearning. A short dialogue between a god who speaks first and the Buddha in Jedda's wood. Those who are living in the wilds, who are peaceful and spiritual, eating only one meal a day. Why are their complexions so clear? They do not grieve over the past, nor do they yearn for the future. They live in the present moment, therefore their complexions are clear. It is through grief over the past and through yearning for the future that fools dry up like a green reed that has been mowed down in the field.
You don't like hanging out, bro?
In the field? Okay. To Clement Biddle, Mount Vernon, July 27, 1785. Dear Sir, your letter of the 5th came duly to hand and should have been acknowledged sooner. If it had been in my power conveniently, I thank you for your attention to the certificates which I committed to your care, and will obtain an order from Gilbert Simpson's. I appreciate it, by which the interest may be received. This money is all I am likely to get for a mill which he ran me to the expense of 1,200 hard money to build, near Yohogany, now tumbling down, and for which I cannot get a furthering rent. If Mr. Stell has the cover in which the certificates were wrapped, I should be glad to have it returned to me, or if there are anything within useful to him, a copy of the mem on the back of it. It is the only minutes I took of the different interests in the certificates it enclosed. Since your last conference with Monsieur Dunlap and Claypool, their advertiser has come to hand regularly. I am content, therefore, to have it continued. As you think my small commissions will not give you more trouble than they are worth, I shall, when I find occasion, continue them with pleasure. We expect to begin our operations on the Potomac navigation about the 6th of next month, under the management of Mr. James Rumsey. If the miners, therefore, who have been accustomed to the blowing of rocks underwater are desirous of employment in this way and are not extravagant in their demands, I am persuaded he would hire them. Were they to apply to him either at the Seneca Falls or the Falls of Shenandoah, neither of which are far from Fredericktown in Maryland, or if they think the distance too great to come on an uncertainty, if through you they will communicate to me their lowest terms, I will see that an answer to them is obtained. Mrs. Washington joins
the
me
sooner
in
the better,
compliments
like,
to
it's
and best
wild, you know?
wishes for your Mrs. Biddle and the family, and I am, etc.
Hill control.
Again, I appreciate the effort being put forward here. We don't want to give too many details here. I don't have anything planned. All you can do is approach them, you know. Say, hey, this was promised to me by the government, by individuals.
The problem I'm having is the ones involved right now should be in jail. You understand?
Very doable. Again, all the information is readily available. It's there, so it's not hard to learn.
So the answer is
Trial
no.
and error. Blah, 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 blah. Really, there was a mistake that was made that needs to be corrected, I think is what she's pointing
Yes.
out.
Fraud.
Team about to score.
The certificates, the business certificates, there's about 5 of them, I think. 6 of them.
Enemy team took the hill.
The white lines through the yellow light.
Make a permanent certificate.
the
Like,
white
this is
line right
permanent,
there.
you cannot change it. Except this. I'll pay my taxes. Taxation. Tax exempt. Prince Clayton here. I appreciate you. It feels good at least. Either way, I have it in my hand, you know?
White wall.
That's all that really matters. I hope it works out. I changed some things. So, I hope the stream is recording properly. I'll end it after the hour, though. Let me do one more
Trying to act
David,
like it's the ark. No, it's them.
Hill control.
and then I'll do a Solomon, and we'll get out. Chapter 24.
A hand
Behold,
is being used there.
the Lord maketh the earth empty, and maketh it waste, and turneth it upside down, and scattereth abroad the inhabitants thereof. And it shall be as with the people, so with the priest, as with the servant, so with his master, as with the maid, so with her mistress, as with the buyer, so with the seller, as with the lender, so with the borrower, as with the taker of usury, as with the giver of usury to him. The entire business, that's the entire business plan right here. Chapter 24, in that one paragraph, the entire business plan. David, King
Too
David
fast.
knows
Way
about the
too
business
fast.
plan. Thank you.
Enemy about to
The land shall be utterly emptied and utterly spoiled, for the Lord hath spoken his word.
The regret you will feel, I assure you.
The earth mourneth and fadeth away, the world languisheth and fadeth away, the haughty people of the earth do languish.
incoming.
The earth also is defiled under the inhabitants thereof, because they have transgressed the laws, changed the ordinance, broken the everlasting covenant. Therefore hath the curse devoured the earth, and they that dwell therein are desolate. Therefore the inhabitants of the earth are burned, and few men left. The new wine mourneth, the vine languisheth, all the merry-hearted do sigh. The mirth of tabrets ceaseth, the noise of them that rejoiceth endeth, the joys of the harp ceaseth. They shall not drink wine with a song, strong drink shall be bitter to them that drink it. The city of confusion is broken down, every house is shut up, that no man may come in. There is a crying for wine in the streets, all joy is darkened, the mirth of the land is gone. In the city is left desolation, and the gate is smitten with destruction. When thus it shall be in the midst of the land among the people, there shall be as the shaking of an olive tree, and as the gleaming grapes, when the vintage is done. They shall lift up their voice, they shall sing for the majesty of the Lord, they shall cry aloud from the sea. Wherefore glorify ye the Lord in the fires, even the name of the Lord God of Israel in the isles of the sea. From the uttermost part of the earth have we heard songs, even glory to the righteous. But I said, my leanness, woe unto me. The treacherous dealers have dealt treacherously. Yeah, the treacherous dealers have dealt very treacherously. That's why you don't rely on them and you grow your own. Fear and the pit and the snare upon thee, O inhabitant of the earth. And it shall come to pass that he who fleeth from the noise of the
Yeah, we're
fear
not
shall
feeling
fall
that
into
at
the
all.
pit. And he that cometh
God
up out of the
damn.
midst of the pit shall be taken
My
in the snare for the
dude.
windows from on high.
I'm not really trying to deal with the fish, so we can remove those individuals. We can remove those individuals at any time. I was not feeling that at all. You see, I'm getting mad here.
Are open, and the foundations of the earth do shake. The earth is utterly broken down, and earth
Not
is
feeling you
clean
at all.
dissolved. The earth is moved exceedingly. The earth shall reel to
Yo,
and fro like
my
a drunkard,
dude.
and shall be removed like a cottage, and the transgression thereof shall be heavy
So
upon
the yellow
it.
light,
And
like
it
the
shall
yellow
fall
border.
and not rise again. And it shall come to pass in that day that the Lord shall punish the hosts of the high ones that are on high, and the
I
kings of
promise
the
you,
earth
bro.
upon the earth. And they
promise
shall be
you.
gathered together as prisoners, are gathered in the
These
pit,
little-
and shall be shut up in the prison, and after many days shall they be visited.
On that
Then the
yellow
moon
light.
shall be confounded, and the sun ashamed, when
cannot
the
wait.
Lord of hosts shall reign in Mount Zion, and in Jerusalem, and before his ancients glorious. See, that's what we're moving away from. The damage that was done, I think he's pointing out. They need to fix that.
Get the pressure
As
bubble off.
she has pointed out, I think everyone would have access to the license. And I've already given my opinion on the matter.
Off.
Not to say that there's money to be made there, but there is. It definitely needs to be more inclusive. The way you're doing it, I don't like it at all. But anyway, aside from my certificate here, that's my personal opinion. Not to be an ass.
Karate Kid. I'm not kidding.
I feel like it's pretty fair. Chapter 25, O Lord, more than fair. Chapter 25, O Lord, thou art my God. I will exalt thee. I will praise thy name, for thou hast done wonderful things. Thy counsels of old are faithfulness and truth. For thou hast made of a city a heap, of a defenced city a ruin, a palace of strangers to be no city. It shall never be built.
Reason someone's gripping
Therefore
onto my
shall
brain.
the strong people glorify thee.
They do this
The
little
city of the terrible
thumbs
nation
up
shall fear
pressure.
thee. For
Like
thou
they're
hast
giving me
been
a thumbs
strength
up in
to
my
the
brain.
poor, a strength to
Army,
the needy and
you're
the
in trouble.
distressed, a refuge from the storm, a shadow from the heat, and when the blast of the terrible ones is a storm against the wall. Thou shalt bring down the noise of strangers, as the heat in a dry place, even the heat with the shadow of a cloud. The branch of the terrible ones shall be brought low. And in this mountain shall the Lord of hosts make unto all people a feast of fat things, a feast of wines
My dude,
on the
get
lees,
out.
of fat things full of marrow, of wines on the lees well refined. And he will destroy in this mountain the face of the covering cast over all the people, and the veil that is spread over all the nations. He will swallow up death and victory, and the Lord God will wipe away tears from all faces, and the rebuke of his people shall be taken away from off all the earth. For the Lord hath spoken it. And it shall be said in that day, Lo, this is our God, we have waited for him, and he will save us. This is the Lord, we have waited for him. We will be glad and rejoice in his salvation.
Oddball.
And he will swallow up death and victory, and the Lord God will wipe away tears from all faces, and the rebuke of his people shall be taken away from off all the earth, for the Lord hath spoken it. And it shall be said in that day, Lo, this is our God, we have waited for him, and he will have this. This is the Lord, we have waited for him, we will be glad and rejoice in his salvation. For in this mountain shall the hand of the Lord rest, and Moab shall be trodden down under him, even as straw is trodden down for the dunghill. And he shall spread forth his hands in the midst of them, as he that swimmeth spreadeth forth his hands to swim. And he shall bring down their pride together with the spoils of their hands. And the fortress of the high fort of thy walls shall he bring down, lay low, and bring to the ground, even to the dust.
Ball dropped. Enemy has the ball. Ball dropped. Enemy has the ball.
O rise, my son, O rise.
So I'm gonna press charges on him.
Ball
Again, I'll meet you down here in the middle. We'll start 1679 of the Quran. Have they not seen the birds glide in the open sky? None holds them except Allah. Surely in this are signs for those who believe. And Allah has made your homes a place to rest, and has given you tents from the hide of animals, light to handle when you travel and when you camp, and out of their wool, fur, and hair, He has given you furnishings and good for a while. And Allah has provided you shade out of what He created, and has given you shelter in the mountains. He has also provided you with clothes protecting you from the heat and cold, and armor shielding you in battle. This is how He perfects His favor upon you, so perhaps you will fully submit to Him. But if they turn away, then your duty, O Prophet, is only to deliver the message clearly. They are aware of Allah's favors, but still deny them, and most of them are truly
I think you might be confused on this
Consider,
one.
O Prophet, the day we will
No.
call a prophet as a witness from every faith community. Then the disbelievers will neither be allowed to plead nor appease their Lord. And when the wrongdoers face the punishment, it will not be lightened for them, nor will they be delayed from it. And when the police see their associate gods, they will say, Our Lord, these are the associate gods that we use to invoke besides you.
We have the ball.
Their gods will throw a rebuttal at them, saying, You are definitely liars.
Ball dropped. We have the ball. We have the ball.
They will offer full submission to Allah on that day, and whatever gods they fabricated will fail them.
Halfway to victory. Ball dropped. Ball out of bounds. Ball incoming.
For those who disbelieve and hinder others from the way of Allah, we will add more punishment to their punishment for all the corruption they spread.
Enemy has the ball.
Consider, O Prophet, the day we will call against every faith community a witness of their own, and we will call you to be a witness against these people of yours. We reveal to you the book as an explanation of all things, a guide, a mercy, and good news for those who fully submit. Indeed, Allah commands justice, grace, as well as generosity to close relatives. He forbids indecency, wickedness, and aggression. He instructs you, so perhaps you will be mindful. Honor Allah's covenant when you make a pledge, and do not break your oaths after confirming them, having made Allah your guarantor. Surely Allah knows all you do. Do not be like the woman who foolishly unravels her yarn after it is firmly spun, by taking your oath as a means of deceiving one another in favor of a stronger group. Surely Allah tests you through this, and on that day of judgment He will certainly make your differences clear to you. Had Allah willed, He could have easily made you one community of believers, but He leads to stray whoever He wills and guides whoever He wills, and you will certainly be questioned about what you used to do. And do not take your oaths as a means of deceiving one another, or your feet will slip after they have been firm. Then you will taste the evil consequences of hindering others from the way of Allah, and you will suffer a tremendous punishment. And do not trade Allah's covenant for a fleeting gain. What is with Allah is certainly far better for you, if only you knew. Whatever you have in, but whatever Allah has, is everlasting, and we will certainly reward the steadfast according to the best of their deeds. Whoever does good, whether male or female, and is a believer, we will surely bless them with a good life, and we will certainly reward them according to the best of their deeds. When you recite the Quran, seek refuge with Allah from Satan, the accursed. He certainly has no authority over those who believe and put their trust in their Lord. His authority is only over those who take Him in patron and who, under His influence, associate others with Allah in worship.
We have the ball.
When we replace a verse with another, and Allah knows best what He reveals, they say, You, Muhammad, are just a fabricator. In fact, most of them do not know.
Ball dropped.
Say, the Holy Spirit has brought it down from your Lord with the truth to reassure the disbelievers, and as a guide and good news for those who submit to Allah. And we surely know what do they say. No one is teaching him except a human, but the man they refer to speaks a foreign tongue, whereas this Quran is an eloquent Arabic. Surely those who do not believe in Allah's revelations will never be guided by Allah, and they will suffer a painful punishment. No one fabricates lies except those who disbelieve in Allah's revelations, and it is they who are the true liars. Whoever disbelieves in Allah after their belief, not those who are forced while their hearts are firm in faith, but those who embrace disbelief wholeheartedly, they will be condemned by Allah and suffer a tremendous punishment. This is because they prefer the life of this world over the hereafter. Surely Allah never guides those who choose to disbelieve. They are the ones whose hearts, ears, and eyes are sealed by Allah, and it is they who are truly heedless. Without a doubt, they will be the losers in the hereafter. The bud.
We have the ball.
They prefer the life of this world over the hereafter. That bud would be the hereafter.
Ball dropped.
As for those who emigrated after being compelled to renounce Islam, then struggled in Allah's cause and persevered, your Lord, O Prophet, is truly all-forgiving, most merciful after all.
Enemy has the ball. Ball dropped.
Consider the day when every soul will come pleading for itself, and each will be paid in full for what it did, and none will be wronged. And Allah sets forth the example of a society which was safe and at ease, receiving its provision in abundance from all directions. But its people met Allah's favor with ingratitude, so Allah made them taste the clutches of hunger and fear for their misdeeds. A messenger of their own actually did come to them, but they denied them, so the torment overtook them while they persisted in wrongdoing. So eat from the good, lawful things which Allah has provided for you, and be grateful for Allah's favor, for you truly worship Him alone. Clayton Smith. He has only forbidden you to eat carrion, blood, swine, and what is slaughtered in the name of any other than Allah. But if someone is compelled by necessity, neither driven by desire nor exceeding immediate need, then surely Allah is all-forgiving, most merciful.
Enemy has the ball. Ball dropped.
Do not falsely declare with your tongues, this is lawful and that is unlawful, only fabricating lies against Allah. Indeed, those who fabricate lies against Allah will never succeed.
Nearing victory.
It is only a brief enjoyment, then they will suffer a painful punishment. To the Jews we have forbidden what we related to you before. We did not wrong them, but it was they who wronged themselves. As for those who commit evil ignorantly or recklessly, then repent afterwards and mend their ways, then your Lord is surely all-forgiving, most merciful. Indeed, Abraham was a model of excellence, devoted to Allah, perfectly upright, not a polytheist. Utterly grateful for Allah's favors, so He chose him and guided him to the straight path. He blessed him with all goodness in this world, and in the hereafter he will certainly be among the righteous. Then we revealed to you, O Prophet, saying, follow the faith of Abraham, the upright, who was not one of the polytheists. Honoring the Sabbath was ordained only for those who disputed about Abraham, and surely your Lord will judge between them on the day of judgment regarding their disputes.
Enemy has the ball.
Invite all to the way of your Lord with wisdom and kind advice, and all duplicate with them in the best manner. Surely your Lord alone knows best who has strayed from his way and who's rightly guided. If you retaliate, then let it be equivalent to what you have suffered. But if you patiently endure, it is certainly best of those who are patient. Be patient, O Prophet, for your patience is only with Allah's help. Do not grieve over those who disbelieve, nor be distressed by their schemes. Surely Allah is with those who shun evil and who do good deeds.
Ball incoming. Enemy has the ball. Ball dropped.
We'll take a 5-minute break and then I will be back.
Gained the lead.
What they're not telling you.
Enemy has the ball. Ball dropped. Enemy has the ball. We have the ball. Ball dropped. 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 We have the ball. Nearing victory.
A good hour-long one. Try to keep it a little bit longer. An hour is almost too short. Hour and a half is good. Keep going here. Go back to George. 2 Battelle Mews. Mount Vernon.
Victory.
Leases. July 28th, 1785. Sir, a few days ago, by a Mr. Hickman, who either is or wants to be a tenant of mine in Frederick County, I sent you a dozen blank leases. The tract on which he says he is fixed is part of 2 lots which I purchased at the sale of Colonel George Mercer's estate in the year 1774. A plat of which I send you, that the whole may be arranged into 4 tenements, as conveniently disposed as water and sea will admit. In September last, whilst I was in the border in Berkeley, many persons applied for this land, but from causes which then existed, I came no positive agreement with any, referring them to Mr. Snickers, who was so kind as to promise that he would fix matters for me, as I was in a hurry and could not go upon the land myself. My aunt's old dog was named Snickers. I just went up there and old John Jay. On the terms which, if I recollect right, I gave him in a letter, sometime after 2 men of the names of Windsor and Bevan, with the letter enclosed from Mr. Snickers, came here and were told that I would comply with whatever agreement was made with them by him. Among other things, they said Mr. Snickers had promised them leases. Mr. Smith had promised them leases for 14 years. This, I observed, could not, in my opinion, be the case, because I had expressly named 10 years, the term for which Mr. Burwell
Pause it there for a second.
let his land
He keeps
adjoining.
pointing out.
But notwithstanding, if the case
I don't know if
was
that's
so,
the arc or if
and
that's
Mr.
like their
Smith
actual
would declare it,
reactions.
the leases should be filled
That's the
up
thing I'm trying to
accordingly.
figure out.
This I
He
repeat,
can tell their
and
movements
as far as the
whenever,
matter
like, he says
respects
Allah,
Windsor,
everybody
for
starts
it
bum
seems
rushing.
Bevan has changed his mind. The other conditions endorsed on the back of Mr. Smith's letter to me are to be granted him. He
You
paying
can
all
see the
taxes
motion,
which
bro. It,
may
like
be
it
laid on the
zooms
land
in
he
on him like,
holds.
oh my gosh. You know what I mean? As soon as he says it, every time
Again,
too,
the way
they'll
I'm, like,
run into that room. It is the funniest
50,000.
thing.
No, we don't need that many acres, but I appreciate you. Let's condense this. The proper form here. Because we're all equal and fair here, right? Here, let's just give all the land to Clayton. Not that I have ill intent, but I'm just saying. Let me change these names. Excuse me, ma'am. Marie. A woman president? Surely not. She knows more than I do. No, it can't be. The big joke here. That's why they had the statue. Take that out. Snickers. The dog was Toto from Wizard of Oz. Literally, Toto. It was named Snickers. I sure hope this works properly and everything's working.
Nope, not working properly at all. The lies, the things that aren't true. They're trying to arrange it. I don't want to sit here and mess with it, but like I said, you can see the motion and they bum rush every time. Right on cue. I do the same thing. It's funny. Bro, even for that, it's like a drug, bro. Even for that split second.
Even for that split second, like I got the crown for that moment. You can go back and pause it, dude.
Here, hold on. Hold on.
You're a fool. Prim and proper. I would assume it is. However, as filling up one lease may be a guide with respect to the others, I enclose one in the name of Windsor with the blank as completely filled as I can do it under my uncertainty with respect to the term of years for which he is to have it, and which is to be determined by Mr. Smith, and for want of the quantity of acres in and a description of the lot which he is to have. A blank check? Where do I want? Well, I would have to go look. I'm not just gonna grab up any land. Hey, I want this. I should, but I would have to research. There's definitely like some fun to be had here. There are already 3 tenants on this tract to whom you may fill up leases on the same terms which I have done for Windsor, and whenever they will bring evidences to prove them, I will sign them. They've already, as Bevan has declined the state. What are you talking about? She's trying to override this state, the federal. Okay, that makes sense. Excuse me? A federal license is what you said? Let me repeat this, because this is a federal level. There are already 3 tenants on this tract to whom you may fill up leases on the same terms which I have done for Windsor. And whenever they will bring evidences to prove them, I will sign them. Winston Churchill. As Bevan has declined taking the lot which he agreed for first with Mr. Smith and afterwards with me, you may let it to any good tenant who offers, upon the terms on which the others are held. The 3 new engaged will have rents to pay thereon the 1st of next January. It will be necessary to take an assignment of Mr. Whiting's lease before one can be made to Mr. Aries, or some instrument of writing by which it will be cancelled, in order to render the new one valid. And I hope payment of the money due on the Repelvy bonds of the former will not be delayed longer than the time mentioned in your last letter, viz. September. Okay, so you're basically telling the federal government to transfer all the licenses over into the federal legislation, which is up for debate, the state and the federal.
I see why.
Having got a gentleman to assist me in my business, I hope
He's
shortly to
irritated,
have my
but-
accounts so arranged as to be able to send you a rental of what
What's
is due
the
to be in
holdup?
London, Fauquier, and Berkeley counties. I have a lot in this town and county of Winchester, of which, when you have occasion to go hither, I beg you to inquire into the state and condition, and give me information of what can be made of them. The one in the town, I believe a Dr. McKay has something to do with. I would be obliged to you for inquiring of Mr. Wormley's manager if he has any good red clover seed for sale, what quantity and the price thereof, and let me know the result by the first conveyance to Alexandria. I am, etc. I have like two doses left.
Double kill. Bomb army.
This is what I have left. I will do that whenever the time comes. That was the plan.
Your team's
Oh, pro.
Two
I get that
versions
no-scope?
here.
objective incoming.
I appreciate you. That's amazing.
Objective ready.
Oh, get mad about it.
The
Body
spirit
connection. Stem cell.
That's what it seems
I am
like
not.
to
I
me,
will
that
kill you
You're
over it.
basically wanting to transfer the license over to the federal government.
Delusional
out of the
maniac.
state
I will
hand.
kill you over that. That's how he's doing it. He has it's a shadow.
Or to
like I
include
said.
the federal.
There's like
is
2
what they want.
versions of me. Like
Either
Shiva.
or.
Yes, you are, fucker.
Furthermore, mentioning
So I
women
need
here,
on like on these private
believe
bases
there-
that nobody's allowed
Winston
on, like
was,
not even the
was
president. I need
mentioned.
on them. I'm not
Prime
kidding you.
Minister at a given time. Go ahead and cancel
Okay,
that.
dude, you will regret it. I assure you, I will get on it.
Carrier.
I assure you, I will get on that base. Yes, they do. They have. It's a double version of me. Again, through the window here, he's casting a shadow of me with a red light. It's
The
like
red
a
clover?
bag of
Get into
Clayton.
the details of the plant. Why is it red? Why is it orange? Why is it purple? Why is it blue? Why is it this? Why
So
is
when
it
you,
that?
what is it? Nick Valentine on Fallout.
That's when you start getting into the consistency of it. And you have like sativas that'll be more stretched out, and the indicas will be short and stubby.
Bomb taken.
That will play into a factor on that. So the short and stubby ones will be more darker. As far as like picking them in their prime, I'm sure every strain is different, and I'm sure there's an exception to the rule, but the majority
A
of them
little-
you'll find will be darker, and the
Like a
sativas
hockey
will be
puck.
lighter. So the orange will be a sativa, the
Ice.
upper for like a day.
Bomb taken.
As Solomon mentioned, like I said before, I believe from observation, all the different
Bomb.
DNA strands of Earth, all the body structures, all the races of Earth, like it's the tree when they die,
Like a fresh cut tree.
Dropped.
it's all the different strains. That's why it would be a healthy endeavor. A recycling center, if you will. Again, there's a time and a place for everything.
Bomb taken.
I don't know what to say to you. That's amazing. It's not hard. As David had mentioned, he pretty much in a paragraph, and literally it was this big. It was a Mona Lisa. He laid out the entire business plan. With their one, again, it's a lottery. I don't like it at all. I think that's why she's trying to transfer it over to the federal, Mrs. President. George, what is this? The James River Company? It needs to be done this way, the war. But we're going to go ahead and end this. I'm the president here. This is the way it's going to be done. This is an executive order.
His vault and that vault there, that needs to be removed.
Bomb taken.
The art, I would believe in the vault.
Okay. What else have you mentioned? I'm trying to think of everything here. The land that you mentioned, the damage of the land. I've actually heard about that before. Like the runoff from the plants getting into rivers and stuff, or drying out the river or something. Again, I would use buckets, so I don't relate. Now, I see where you're coming from. That applies to any plant, any kind of farming. Nowadays they have methods to that plan ahead to avoid that. Now with this plant, it's a little bit different. I would assume. It's not? Oh, okay. See, they're telling me no, it's not any different.
Carrier kill. Bomb taken.
Like I said, I have my theories on that too. If I've noticed anything after Colorado, because I'm in Missouri, the trade winds, I'd be downhill from Colorado, especially if you're looking at it from the Yellowstone perspective and the lava flow going down towards where I'm at. Which, if you actually go further down, that's where the diamond mine is. Would be at the bottom of the lava flow from Yellowstone. So one thing I've noticed since Colorado has been legalized and everybody's swarming there, because everybody did swarm there, it's going through Kansas into Missouri. It's a little bit more rainy here. The clouds, it's hard to explain.
The types of clouds.
I just mentioned the grass, the shine of it, but also it's rainier. The clouds are different. The types of clouds that it is. I have noticed it. I sit here, dude. I've been sitting here for a long time. for years. So it's definitely causing rain.
And the snow is different. Over the last several years, like the snow will be like
The
ice,
Amazon?
ice
Is that what you're
rock.
telling me?
This year it was real fluffy.
Bomb army.
Every little detail, man. You gotta watch.
A rainforest. So if anything affected anything, it would have been the pyramids. You know what I mean? As far as like geology goes,
5 minutes remaining.
if that's what you're referring to, and the the farmland that's being destroyed. It probably takes more nutrients. Again, it needs a lot of area. Again, there's a healthy way to do it. You definitely need to do the science and perfect it, master the craft there.
I would need to do more research on that. I'm not a farmer.
Break it down for you, man, sir.
I'm a quick learner. That's the thing.
It's not a problem. It's literally you are just literally standing there like no.
Bomb taken.
That is literally what you're doing, standing there and saying no. In fact, I've even mentioned they told you not. They asked people not to grow. Farmers in Missouri, they paid them not to grow.
Bomb taken.
If that tells you anything. That seems sufficient. I said what I needed to say. Gave my 2 cents. Gave my opinion. Here we are. I've presented it. That's all I can do is present it.
Bomb taken.
As far as the federal level. I mean, I have my certificates here, but from a federal level,
Target spotted.
I'm trying my hardest. These guys, they don't have any say in what, as far as that is concerned. I'm going down the right path here. You guys are just being stubborn, as has been mentioned. More than stubborn. And as you can see in the arc there, little boy, you're nothing. He tried, didn't he? The devil appears. There he is. Now you know, ladies. So let's go ahead and get on that. I'm not going to name names, but I'm going to go ahead and get on that. I appreciate it.
It did look
Nip
like
that in the butt.
the robin that's been tapping my window.
Trying to use some karate shit. No thanks. I won that battle. You're a bitch. Bright and sunny right now. Apparently there's going to be tornadoes later. So who knows?
Nearing victory.
Or maybe that was last night. I just don't know.
Objective incoming. Objective ready. Get the objective.
And this would apply. Like, this is a good foundation for any of the businesses. Certificates and such moving forward. You and your freedom. You're grabbing up all the land. But, I mean, there still has to be, like, other people are involved, so.
Bomb army.
Very well done. A good route here.
Carrier
All
kill.
puns intended. I bid you adieu.
Bomb taken.
There we have it. That was a good one. Afterwards, not so good. But I mean, we got it. We got it on. We're good. You're full. No, you're crazy. What would possess you? What would possess you to come here on your own? Pre-med. Pre-med. Either way you look at it, I've won this battle. Any argument that you have, you made a mistake here. As far as I'm concerned, like, I have rights, whether you like it or not.
Bomb dropped.
That's not an
Objective
excuse.
incoming.
It doesn't make sense to me. Like, what would possess you to do that, really?
Bomb taken.
On camera, like, you haven't had a conversation. You're trying to bark at me in a whisper. I'm not doing this with you. Screaming at you the entire fucking time. What would possess you? What would possess you to do that? As it, what, you were listening to someone on the private of their home, you didn't like what they had to say? As a group?
What would possess you to do that? Make the decisions that you made.
Bomb army. Carrier kill.
I don't know what they told you, but it was wrong. No excuse whatsoever. I mean, I've done what I can. I don't know what else. I don't do email, so they start flooding with like porn and stuff. So I stopped doing email a long time ago. It's there though.
Bomb army.
I don't answer my phone. Again, the way they have it set up,
Carrier kill.
not a trusted system at all. Convenient, but
Bomb taken.
but yeah, I mean, and they were speaking for everybody, not just me, as was mentioned. So don't just think it's about me. That was for everybody. But I mean, that applies to any business. You know what I mean? The root of it.
Victory.
Now, like I said, the nature of the beast. The problem is this commodity
Carrier
is.
kill. Bomb
It's the
drop.
nature of the beast, you know, as far as business is concerned. As far as individuals, like, able to come into it and, like, make it their own thing. Other businesses, like, you were talking about limes, you could do it, but it would be a lot harder. Even from a growing aspect, I feel like. It's probably pretty hard to change the lime there. However, the one we're talking about is very versatile. It's easily accessible. There's not a lot to it. Straight and to the point. The downfall of that is they've kind of gone too far. It's like, how are you going to take care of that? I don't know. I wouldn't know. It's all about what you have passion for, you know? With the, what was it, 200,000 acres as a open business. This is the beginning of the farmland. As far as the colonials are concerned. I mean, you gotta think of the Indians, though. But I guess they were going down the Ohio River, and this is where he set up shop for the farmers. This is their little plot for the government. He's claiming land. There it is. Thank you. I appreciate you. Excuse me my screaming. I thank you for your justification there. I appreciate you. It's never pleasant. I don't know what would possess you to do that at all. Anyway, I've done what I could. I'll be back. We're going to keep doing this, like always.